Hi, you're listening to Scribble Talk, a podcast for bid and proposal professionals. My name is Bhaskar Sundram, and with my co-host Ashley Case, we'll be sitting down with our industry veterans to share their stories, discuss their career, and learn how to make an impact in the industry. Today's guest is Melinda Kerrison. Mel developed her bidding skills across a number of sectors ranging from thousands to 500 million worth of tenders with organizations including Micros, Oracle, De La Rue, Leidos and QinetiQ. With each career move being a progression, Mel has now reached the position of strategic capture bid lead, working on some of the more complex deals, bringing thought leadership for QinetiQ. An APMP member from fairly early part of her career, Mel has achieved Foundation and Practitioner certification and won 40 under 40 twice, received the Bid Excellence Award in 2017, and most recently won both the Innovation and the Collaborations Award in 2021. At the start of the year, Mel became the Chief Events Officer for the APMP UK Chapter and looks forward for leading the future events of the chapter. There's a lot more to Mel beyond that. Mel, welcome to Scribble Talk. Great to have you with us.
Thank you. Likewise, happy to be here.
Thank you, Mel. Mel, let's talk about your early life and career. Where were you born? And let's talk about your life, school, and education.
Yeah, so believe it or not, I was actually born in Wales. I don't have any kind of Welsh accent whatsoever. We left Wales when I was a toddler and we moved to Bracknell, Berkshire. So kind of grew up in Bracknell, Berkshire, but when it comes to supporting rugby and football teams, I'll always claim to be Welsh and hark back to my Welsh heritage, and don't test me on any Welsh either. I think I know Bore Da, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, grew up in Bracknell, Berkshire, went to school in Ascot, and I was because my parents divorced when I was quite young. My dad moved away to a different country. I did have that stigmatism that kind of children of the 90s got if they were from single parent families. So to some extent, certainly in primary school, I was probably written off as a little bit of a no hope. But my mum instilled in me some good values of working hard and a good working ethic. And I think that's kind of encouraged me to have a drive to succeed. And so I was then, by secondary school, the class swapped somewhat. I was one that liked to get good grades, and that saw me through and enabled me to go to university.
Wow, what a powerful story straight away, Mel. And Mel, I know from Wales to Bracknell, for the first 5 years of my career, I was in Bracknell. Any childhood memories of growing up in Berkshire?
I think everyone assumes that you know the Queen if they haven't been in Berkshire themselves. And I've done Windsor Castle a couple of times. In fact, actually, I did do a poetry competition at school. This is where I said that, you know, the class nerd kind of came out. So I did this poetry competition at school and was one of the winners. I don't think I was first. I think I was in the top 3 or something like that. And we got to have a private tour of Windsor Castle and go into the places like the library and stuff like that isn't normally open to the public. So for those that kind of go, oh, if you're in Berkshire, you must know the Queen, you must be in Windsor Castle all the time. No, but I got fairly close.
You should know the Queen. Don't you know the Queen, man?
Yeah, she comes out every Sunday afternoon.
That's So cute. Mel, going from there to University of Surrey to do psychology. Talk about that. Why psychology?
Yeah, so applied psychology and sociology. When I was at secondary school, in particular doing my A levels, I actually wanted a career in law. I was quite keen to be a lawyer, although there's an extraordinary amount of time you need to spend studying in order to become a lawyer, which became apparent. And I did a criminal law course, kind of a couple of days taster sessions at a university, where you met some of the lecturers and you got a bit of a feel and a taste for it. And I kind of realised that I wasn't necessarily overly sold on the penal system, and you potentially the big bucks in law is in defence, and you really ethically want to be defending someone that you are pretty sure are guilty, but you've got to represent them. And I actually wanted to understand a bit more about why people behave in certain ways, why people might enter into the criminal justice system. So that's where psychology came from. And my final year in university, I specialised in criminal psychology and criminal behaviour. I did a placement year at the Centre for Crime and Justice Studies, where I did some research into criminal behaviour, looking at people in Broadmoor, and things like that, transition to adulthood. So why do young people offend? How do they re-offend, and all that sort of thing? And that was really interesting. And I think that did definitely scratch that itch. So that's why I did psychology.
Wow. If you ask me why did I do engineering, I don't think I have answers like this deep. Did it? But my God, that's a lot of thought process in choosing a degree, which is great. Post psychology, what was next to Mel?
Yeah, so I guess everyone's probably going, well, how do you go from criminal psychology to bid management without being kind of slightly disparaging to bidding colleagues? And I graduated in 2012. The economic situation of the country then wasn't brilliant. I know it doesn't necessarily feel marvellous today either. And a lot of the jobs, similar to what I was doing at the Centre for Crime and Justice Studies, was research-based. It relied heavily on funding. And I was just a little bit nervous that kind of trying to get a research-based job when the job market was quite tough anyway. And if funding is pulled, if you're then out of work, what do you do? So I thought about going into a more traditional business line that kind of felt like it had a bit more job security about it. I know that can feel quite tough as well. So I found a graduate recruitment company where I got, at the same time as my first year, kind of after graduating, getting a job, they also gave me the skills and courses, and I got a diploma in inspirational selling. And in that first organisation that I worked for, that's where I really picked up and supported the bid manager. I got involved in bid writing, understanding how to put the cost calculators together and all of that sort of thing. That was really how I discovered bid management as a career. Like many of us, you kind of just fall into it a little bit, and that was how I fell into it. So I was almost a salesperson, and then I became a bid manager.
Got it. I think from doing part-time roles to moving into criminal psychology to all the way into sales coordinator to bid management. So do you remember your very first proposal or a bid, Mel?
Not necessarily my very first one. I think I remember my very first painful bid, which kind of was probably everything you don't want to happen in a bid. So it was a bid into Afghanistan. It had to be hand delivered, so we had a team in country, ready to kind of print and deliver the bid. And we started running up against deadlines. There were a lot of moving parts that all needed pulling together. And the bit I remember the most was kind of starting on the Friday night, or kind of starting on the Friday and then not getting home again till the Sunday morning, because it was that final stretch, and because the time difference between us and Afghanistan, as we were flagging, they were just kind of coming online, and the things that feel completely illogical when you're at that point of tiredness. Like, I remember having a really big debate over what the customer meant by a double sealed envelope. And it's one of those things where you kind of trip over some of the detail. We're like, is that an envelope inside an envelope, or is it an envelope with kind of like a bit of sellotape over the top of it? And in the end, one of the fresh-faced guys from Afghanistan, who obviously had more sleep than I had, he was like, leave it with me, I understand what it means, forget about it, it's fine. But yeah, that was one of the things, a fairly early memory, and it's always the ones that necessarily don't go to plan or the ones that you remember the most.
Totally. I think over the years from that kind of painful bit, as you mentioned, you have worked for some leading companies like Micros, Oracle, Delaware, Leidos, and now QinetiQ as a strategic capture. Ridley, talk us through your journey so far, and also any interesting, memorable projects or memorable learnings along the way.
Yeah, so I've moved on from organisation to organisation fairly frequently, always trying to grow and develop with every step. Every career step I've made has been a progression. I probably am one of those stereotypical millennials in that, I will move for the right opportunity, and I think there is a trend more widely in business where the millennials and perhaps the generation below them will be more fluid and less kind of, I don't like the word loyal to an organization, but they'll move for the right opportunity rather than kind of like sticking it out and hoping that you get rewarded for length of service. So I have been definitely one of those kind of people as I've progressed. My course was really interesting. A lot of point of sale systems into retail sector. I remember working on a bid for a garden centre organisation, and it was to redevelop their website, and I spent quite a bit of time kind of Googling different plants so that I could kind of drop examples into the proposal response, that they could have a category landing page called perennials, and then a subcategory landing page, and then I kind of picked a type of perennial plant and all that sort of thing. And they did come back and gave really good feedback on that bid, saying that it was written like we really understood them. And I think some of that was from doing that level of research. I think similarly in Delaware as well, almost a similar kind of story where I worked with the sales lead to do banknotes into Nigeria. And the customer feedback that I always remember this one was that the proposal was written like the proposal read like it was written by a Nigerian, which I just think kind of being able to portray that level of understanding of the customer, and really kind of, we talk about things in bidding best practice about trying to mimic and use the customer's language, and I think that was a clear example of being able to do that. And then from then I went to QinetiQ for the first time. got a great wealth of experience from there. Worked on some maritime bids, learned more about ships than I ever thought was possible. One of my favourite bids was for the project support for the fleet solid support vessels. So you'll see, if you so wish to Google it, Google the fleet solid support vessels and the new ships that our Ministry of Defence are planning on building in the near future. That's currently out in kind of proper procurement, but they needed some advice to help them get to that point. So that was a really interesting one. It was one that had really good team collaboration across the bid as well. I then went to Leidos, worked on a really big kind of £300 million opportunity to the Home Office, quite a juicy one. It was over a year long, and definitely a lot of learnings and lessons to be taken from that bid as well. And then saw the opportunity to go back to QinetiQ as the strategic capture bid lead, which just enables me to put some of the more strategic thinking into practice, being able to advise and make recommendations and support the team as well.
Wow. And from that journey, today you are with QinetiQ as a strategic capture lead. Talk us about what QinetiQ does and your role and your team as well, Mel, please.
Yeah, so QinetiQ does a lot of work into the Ministry of Defence and central government. Their aim is to support our customers' missions, so whether that's in the air, land, sea, space, cyber and information technology, it's really varied. So one bid could be providing training to pilots. Another bid could be providing the Ministry of Defence digital strategy and kind of helping them enable their systems, kind of back of house type of thing. So it's a real varied level of bids that come out of the organisation. In terms of my role within the organisation, so I'm aligned to the strategic captures. They tend to be the big, juicy, complex ones. And my role varies from bid to bid. So sometimes I'll be there in a coaching, supporting role to a bid manager who perhaps hasn't done something in a particular area before. Sometimes I'll come in and I'll run a specific session. So if someone needs a black hat or a pre-mortem, I'll work with them to understand their bid and then actually lead and facilitate that session, hopefully getting them the outputs that they're looking for, but being that independent voice that sometimes as bid managers, we need someone a bit more neutral to come in to kind of help see the wood for the trees. And others I'll lead myself as well. And so it's that good balance of still keeping in touch with the day-to-day bid management, being able to provide that level of strategic thinking and shaping our bid strategy from that more strategic level as well.
Wow, looks like an all-round role there. Good luck to you and your team and QinetiQ. Mel?
Thank you.
Mel, at what point in your career did you come across APMP?
I'm not 100% sure. I think I'd heard of them when I was at Micros, so quite early on, but I don't think I actually got membership until I was at De La Rue, kind of like a year or so later. So I probably had a couple of years experience under my belt before I started engaging with APMP, and some of that's down to the organisation you're working with, their ability to be able to sponsor you and enable you to engage with APMP. And I know that De La Rue at the time had corporate membership, so I was able to take advantage of that. And fairly quickly on, I did my foundation exam, but I also attended quite a lot of the local events as well. So that was a good way of networking and understanding how different organisations approach bid management, finding out those kind of the common pain points that we all experience, but also seeing how people do things differently. So I think, yeah, it was probably a couple of years into my career, and then I've kind of they've been part of the journey ever since.
Totally. And you are not just being a member of APMP. Fast forward today, you're also APMP's Chief Events Chair for UK Chapter. In between, there was multi-awards that you won. Talk us through about your certification journey and the awards that you won. And finally, we'll come to the APMP Chapter contributions.
Yeah, so it started off with Foundation. I was one of those people where I got myself the Foundation study guide. I literally highlighted every single page and put tabs on all of the kind of sections and kind of read that cover to cover, which I know is perhaps somewhat of a unique way of trying to do it. And then I did the Foundation online and passed first time, which was good. A couple of years later, I then did the practitioner. It was the old format of the practitioner exams. It was developing that those kind of short, pithy answers to questions, and I developed that over a period of time. I had Chris Colquitt as my mentor, who I ping-ponged different kind of ideas and kind of inspirations to and from, and he was a really big help. So definitely recommend if anyone's doing anything like practitioner. And I know that the method of assessment has changed, but I think there is real value in having that mentor to help guide you through. I did also help impart some of that knowledge from doing that to some of my colleagues at the time, and encourage and help them with their practitioner entries as well. So yeah, definitely a bit of useful knowledge sharing going on there. And yeah, so in amongst that, there, as you say, there were some awards as well. So 2017 was my first year of interacting with the awards. That was for the Bid Excellence Award, the Fleet Solid Support bid that I mentioned about my first time at QinetiQ. That was that bid that was kind of the case study for that award, and that was a real step change moment for me. It also enabled me to recognise how things like the awards can really elevate your profile. I don't think my LinkedIn had ever been so busy as like the day after the awards. I wasn't sure that was possible. So yeah, that was a kind of my first moment. And then APMP 40 under 40, a couple of years, not necessarily one after the other, they but a couple of years achieved APMP 40 under 40. I'm still under 40, but I think 2 is enough now in terms of the 40 under 40 awards. And then most recently was the 2 awards in 2021 of collaborative teamwork, which is a shared award with my QinetiQ colleagues of Rick Williamson and Elizabeth Batt for an ongoing capture that we're working on, where we've instilled some collaborative working principles, and we've got a cracking team working on that bid. And then the Innovation Award, where I took the opportunity with COVID-19 and the need to work from home to challenge thinking around how Black Hats were conducted, and try and find a way that still enabled you to get rich level of thinking and insights to help shape your position to win through the Black Hat, but in a way that was more viable through remote working, and also at the same time helped save a bunch of costs to the bid budget because no one was traveling anywhere. So it had a bit of a win-win thing there. And then, as you say, most recently accepted the position of Chief Events Officer for the APMP board. So literally a couple of months in, we had my inaugural event on the 31st of January, where we had an APMP does game shows night, which was a great event. It had a good level of interaction between all of the people on the call, and was just a little bit of social fun done remotely. And then we've got another event coming up at the end of this month, which is all around bids, bid professionals and business continuity, and how bid professionals can help shape and challenge how their business approaches business continuity. I've got two cracking business continuity experts in on that one, so I'm really looking forward to that. And then, yeah, the rest is kind of to be unveiled. I've got a number of events in the pipeline that I'm kind of pulling together, but I'll keep you in suspense on those.
Totally. That's good. I know. I was glad to hear that the event on Jan 31st went well, and looking forward to all the events that you're planning to host this year. Thank you, Mel. And again, as a prelude to our next round, which is rapid random fire question rounds, or what we call in honor of Howard Nutt, the Nutters round. Talk us through 3 things not many people know about you.
Ooh, 3 things not many people know about me. I once was Michael McIntyre's personal photographer for the day back in a previous life when I worked at Legoland in Windsor. That was cracking fun. Or other things that people don't necessarily know about me. I'm quite an open book. I mean, I'm surprised if there's not things, I'm surprised if there's things that people don't necessarily know about me. But a lot of people know this, but I also have a sausage dog. He is called Buddy. He's a pretty big sausage dog. He's a standard, and he is currently fast asleep, snoring his head off at this precise moment in time. Other things that people don't necessarily know about me. Oh, I'm really not doing this in a quick fire way, am I? Jeez. I've got a personalised number plate on my car, so if you need to know whether I'm in the office or not, just look in the car park and you'll know if I'm there.
Oh. So Ashley's going to continue round 3 onwards. Thank you so much, Mel. Thanks for sharing.
No worries.
My goodness, Mel. So we would love to know a little bit more about your little sausage dog. He's a standard size. How many pounds does a dog of that size weigh?
Oh, so I can tell you in kilograms. My
yes, that's great.
Version is rubbish. So he is 12 kilograms.
All right, very nice, very nice.
Are you Googling that now just to kind of see how heavy 12 kilograms is?
Yes, absolutely. Get that conversion in my head, right? Oh, wow. And you guys like to take long walks in the woods, and what else do you like to do with little Buddy?
He is the center of most things. He tends to dominate our schedules and our activities. So yeah, taking him for walks in the wood is always good, but we like to try and go to different locations as well. So places like Hollycombe, Steam, fair. You can take your dog with you, and he can ride on the train as well, which is great fun. And he's actually quite well behaved, sat there on the train staring out the window. So that's something that we quite like doing with him.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like good fun there.
Yeah.
And other hobbies you have, I understand you like going to the gym, and you have a newfound love of boxing.
Yeah. So fairly recently, since July 2021, had a real increased focus on my fitness and just trying to get in shape, but also wanting to get stronger as well. It's not all about kind of the size you are. It is all about the size you are, but really focused on increasing my fitness. And I got a personal trainer, and she introduced me into some of the boxing moves. Absolutely loved it, and then bought my own gloves, found a boxing coach, and I'm told I have a really good punch. So yeah. Probably some people now scared of meeting me, but no.
Yes, that's definitely one maybe you could have thought of for 3 things not many people know about you. Mel has a good punch, so be careful what you say to her.
Yeah, along with Mel is always right. So.
Goodness, I love it. Well, it sounds amazing. We are going to pivot now into our actual rapid fire questions round. So don't think too hard about the answers. No right or wrong. If you get stumped, we can just move on. No worries. All right. So what is one thing that takes you out of your comfort zone?
Oh, driving on the wrong side of the road.
Yes, I can imagine. If given a chance, who would you like to be for a day?
Oh, this changes with the flavour of the month, but at the moment, someone like Stephen Bartlett, I think he's a really interesting person.
What is the best compliment you've ever received?
I have a good punch.
Oh my goodness, I love that. Are you a morning or a night person?
Neither.
Yes, me too, actually. How lucky are you, and why?
Oh, I think, I've been quite fortunate. I've built a lot of things myself in terms of elevating my career and getting to the position I am. But I am now in a fairly privileged position. I've got a car, bought my own house, you've got a cat and a dog. I'm fairly okay.
Oh, sounds great. You mentioned a cat just there. What's your cat's name?
He's called Smudge.
Oh, you have great names for your pets.
It's because he's black and white, and he's got a little black spot on his chin, and so that was why we called Smudge. He's now staring at me. He's giving me the evils. He's like, "Why are you talking about me?"
If you could visit any place in the world, where would you choose to go, and why?
I'd like to do a few more of the United States. I've done Florida, but I'd really like to do all of the traditional tourist destinations of Vegas, Grand Canyon, but California, LA. There's so much that I'd love to explore around that area.
Absolutely. Lots of places to visit here.
Yeah.
If you could only eat 3 foods for the rest of your life, what would you choose and why?
Ooh. Bacon, you can't beat the smell of bacon. Beef burgers. I love a big fat juicy beef burger. And I'm a really big fan of rice. I know that sounds really bland, but rice with some soy sauce is kind of my go-to staple food. So that's got to be in there somewhere.
What an interesting combination you have there.
At least there's some protein in there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Do you have a nickname?
Not one that's broadcastable. No. I'm sure there's lots of people that have lots of different names for me, but literally it's Mel unless I'm in trouble, and then people use my full name is pretty much what I go by.
Yeah, I bet a lot of people can relate. What is that one childhood fear that you've not told anyone yet?
Well, it came up in conversation the other day, actually. My other half didn't realize that I don't like needles. He thought I was quite happy with them, and I kind of went, I had to have a blood test recently. I was like, oh, I'm kind of dreading it. He's like, oh, I thought you were fine with that. I was like, no, I'm really not. So yeah, that was one of those, like, so we've been together like 12 years. It's like, how did you not know that? So obviously I kept that quite secret.
Yeah, amazing. What is one trait you like about yourself?
I think there's just a level of determination and drive to do things.
Yes, it sounds like that for sure. Have you ever sent a text message to the wrong person?
Oh, probably on multiple occasions. I know the thing with text messages is that I'm actually really rubbish with saving numbers in my phone. So I'll receive a call or receive a message, and then I have to spend half an hour trying to figure out who it is that sent me that message in order to give them an appropriate reply. I'm kind of the person that's about to go, sorry, who is this?
You need one of those, smartphone capabilities where it guesses at the name if it's not saved. Like,
yeah,
is it inside
sometimes
in an email?
it says like maybe such and such, and that's an absolute godsend. But sometimes I'm just like, oh, I don't.
Nothing.
How do I know you? And it's when someone phones you up and they go, hey, how are you? And I'm like, I really have no idea who you are.
That's the worst. What is the last gift that you gave someone?
Well, we just have Valentine's Day, so there's a few gifts there. My other half, he is he collects model trains. So I got him an eye-wateringly expensive model train for his collection, which apparently was a really good thing, and he really liked. So I have no idea.
Oh my gosh, I bet that's tons of fun. Does he set up the trains on like a track and let them run around? Or is he
will do. So the plan for the loft is to kind of get it all up and running up there, but at the moment it's just storage. But we only got this house in March last year, so there's a bit of leeway in terms of getting ourselves kind of fully settled in.
Oh, absolutely. It does take time, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%.
What is the last thing you watched on TV, and why did you choose to watch it?
Oh, I think we've really got into the series on ITV called Trigger Point, which is about this bomb disposal unit working for the police, and we had them on record and went, oh, we'll just watch the first one. Literally, we were like back to back going, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And we were like, there's no more that are recorded. We actually have to watch this live now because we've got to the end of our ones recording. And yeah, is gripping. There's a little bit of it that probably stretches the realms of reality, and I'm not a bomb disposal expert, so someone will probably point out all the plot holes in it as well. But it's just kind of, yeah, a bit of a gripping drama. It certainly floats our boat.
Yeah, those are the best, the ones that make you want to keep watching and watching and watching. So Mel, you are still under 40 and you have accomplished so much over the years. I'm sure there are tons of people that have helped to get you to where you are. So who are those people who have been the most influential in your life and career?
Oh, so I think from early on, it would have to be my mum. She definitely put that work ethic in me. I think then the opportunities and the people that I met at Legoland as well. There's too many people to mention all in one hit, but yeah, there was a lot of learning and experience gained from there. I'd also say one of the biggest champions from a workplace setting was one of my early on managers called Sherry. Just there was something about having a female manager that was really beneficial to me as I was kind of early on in my career, understanding some of those gender biases and challenges that you face. And she really kind of pushed me to kind of break through some potential glass ceilings and kind of not settle for certain things, and how to have salary conversations and all of that sort of stuff. And then I think my biggest champion is my other half, Gareth. He's definitely my biggest supporter and puts up with me. So
oh, it's amazing. It sounds like such great people in your life.
Absolutely.
So what is one kind thing that someone has done for you lately?
Oh, I think it's probably the small things. So like my neighbour, I needed to kind of be out for a couple of days, and my neighbour, no qualms, came in and fed the cat, and I think they don't expect anything in return, they just do it to be good neighbours. And I think that sort of thing, it's the little things that really mean the most.
Oh, absolutely. Neighbors are the best, aren't they?
Yeah.
So what have you observed lately during these COVID times that has reminded you that people are good?
I think there probably in the first lockdown that we had in the UK, where it was so restricted, you were only allowed one walk a day and all of that sort of thing. And I think it became a novelty seeing people out in the public. So obviously I needed to walk the dog. He wouldn't let me not walk him. So I'd take him out for our daily exercise that we were allowed to have. And non-dog walkers would, say hello, how are you, and all of that sort of thing. And I just thought, it was kind of like you strip away an element of what keeps you busy, and people kind of remember to interact with people again. I thought that was really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mel, what is one common myth about our profession that you want to debunk?
That we are admin people. That's one thing that I think people, there's other areas of an organisation as well that probably get this stick too, but I think there's so much more to bid management than shuffling documents and organising. And I think when you're not always in a customer facing role, people can assume that you're an admin person, that you just organize diaries and that sort of thing. That there's actually a lot of thought leadership, being able to react in the moment, kind of putting out fires. There's always some curveball in a bid that kind of comes along and gets you, and it's kind of like that ability to do project management on steroids that I think makes bid management more unique. So if anyone ever kind of tries to say that their bid manager is there to do their admin, that I see red when when someone says that. That's when I get my boxing gloves out.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I don't get my boxing gloves up, but I have a similar reaction. So what advice would you want to give to our fellow bid and proposal professionals out there who are listening?
So probably one for those that are earlier on in their career, I think just try every experience that comes your way. Try something that is different or makes you feel slightly uncomfortable, takes you out of your comfort zone. If there's an opportunity within your organization to see or test the product or service that they're using, or if there's a different part of the role that you get an opportunity to explore. If someone else is running a black hat and you've never been in the black hat before, go ask and be in the room, either or in the virtual room, and just kind of get those experiences. I think the best way to enhance your CV is through those experiences, rather than getting an element of certifications and qualifications, yeah, sure, they have their place. But I think if you really want to excel yourself and reach for that next level, and if you've got that drive to put yourself forward, I think getting an array of different experiences is a really good thing to do.
Oh, absolutely. That is such incredible advice. And I really hope that some of those younger professionals out there take that to heart and really, take advantage of those opportunities. So Mel, you have accomplished so much and yet you're still so young. We're curious, what is next for you? What are you looking forward to in the future?
Oh, I think things might calm down a little bit. Obviously I've got the role within QinetiQ, which I think provides opportunity for me to grow professionally that way. Being on the APMP board of directors, there's a huge opportunity there as well. And I think that, as we've just talked about CVs, I think that's going to strengthen my CV. I think more personally, next year I'm getting married. So that's the thing that I'm probably looking forward to in the short term the most.
Oh my goodness. Well, congratulations. I bet you're super excited for that.
Yeah, no, be looking forward to it. It's just another event to organise.
I definitely understand that. So Mel, is there anything that you had hoped to share today that we haven't touched upon?
Oh, I don't know. No, I feel like we've gone through. Do you guys remember the TV show This Is Your Life? It feels a little bit like that, which is kind of surreal. I didn't expect you to come with the big red book. So yeah, no, I don't think so. I think we've gone kind of proper 360 around my career so far.
Oh, well, great. Well, Mel, we thank you so much for your time today. It really has been a privilege to have you with us here at Scribble Talk. We wish you all the good health and happiness. Please continue to inspire the bid and proposal industry colleagues around you and everyone else. Please stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane.
Brilliant. Thank you.
To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Please visit batchyscribble.com/podcast to listen to this episode and check out any of our other previously recorded episodes. If you've enjoyed today's interview, don't forget to subscribe, review, and share the Scribble Talk podcast. We hope you'll check out our next episode where we interview another industry expert and special guest. Until then, it's Ashley Kays,
Bhaskar Sundaram,
signing off.